dive in, if you're enjoying taking care of business, hit subscribe on YouTube and follow on Spotify. It helps the show grow, supports creators behind the scenes, and gives you access to original insights from extraordinary guests. Now let's get into today's episode.
So I'm going to kick off by talking about all the incredible things that you have done throughout your professional life. So Ziad, as CEO and founder of The Law, Egypt's first English language law magazine, you spent over a decade championing sustainable growth, innovation, and knowledge sharing within the legal community. Under your leadership, The Law has become a hub for events, seminars, and conferences that connect legal professionals and foster industry excellence. But that's not all. You are also the founder and CEO of Talent Partner, a specialist in legal talent acquisition and retention, and CEO of BD Partner, the only business development agency exclusively serving the legal sector in the MENA region. You serve as Egypt's local representative for AYA, tell me if I've not pronounced that correctly, for International Association of Young Lawyers, Vice President for the Network of International Law Students, and co-founder of Badak, a cultural center in Cairo. You've been recognized as an African legal achiever, and you're a frequent advisor, speaker, and advocate for the legal innovation. Legal professionals describe you as one of the most exciting, creative, and visionary young leaders in Egypt today. Your sparkling enthusiasm energizes everybody around you, as do your leadership, management, team building, marketing, and branding skills. So, I mean, if I was to speak like that about somebody who was at the end of their career, I would say that's like impressive. But as I said, you just seem to be getting started. So, I mean, kudos to you for achieving all of this. And not even just for yourself, like your leadership and entrepreneurial skills, setting up the Law magazine, which is helping so many young students find their way in the legal industry, I think is just, extraordinary. So as well as an entrepreneur, you're an advocate for developing the MENA legal landscape and promoting the rule of law. And for listeners who are unaware of what MENA means, it's the Middle East and North Africa region. So Ziad, what most interests you about the rule of law and legal developments?
Stephanie, first, I have to say I'm very speechless for your great introduction. I'm very delighted to be here today, and I'm very pleased to be here today. And I'm very excited about this podcast. And I saw your previous episode. I feel the new way of sharing knowledge and making knowledge accessible for everyone. I really like this way. I'm very interested to be here, delighted and pleasured. And thank you so much for this great introduction. I didn't know this about myself, so thank you so much for introducing me.
You do not have to say thank you at all. I've just described you, so please, you do not need to thank me.
For your question, what mostly excites me about rule of law and law, first, I would say the most important than rule of law is justice, because the rule of law is the meaning or the method to justice. And what exciting me for the rule of law is forcing and shaping the building of nation. By the law and the rule of law, you force and build a nation. And by the principle of law, the law as a principle, it shapes society. So the law in everything, in every aspect in our life, it forced building our nation, it shaped our society, it shapes our agreement when it comes to business, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to personal things, when it comes to buying things. So law is in every part in our life, in every single detail. And this was always making the law for me very fascinating, how these principles can shape society and build nations.
I feel the same way. Do you know, when I got into law, it was because I could see that law was pervasive around every aspect of, living. And I just think it's really interesting. And I agree with you for with everything that you have just said. So what inspired you to create the first English language law focused publication in Egypt and the Middle East?
Okay, I see, because I'm a millennial and I joined my law school in 2011, and it was time of globalizing everything, and now the Facebook was there and everything was global. And in our region, we didn't have any voices for the law, no platform for the legal profession or society. It's not globalized yet. So this why I was in still activity, and I started doing a market research. And then I see the gaps in the market, that we need a voice for the legal profession. We need a platform for the legal community. We need to globalize the legal community. And English language, of course, was because this is the global language that can connect the legal profession with the whole world.
So
And you know, Stephanie, and this is very interesting. You know that the first constitution came to the world was from Egypt. It was by goddess Maat, pharaonic goddess, and she was the queen of Egypt, and she called the goddess of justice, and she created the first constitution to the world. So when we started in 2011, I think the law should get back from Egypt to the whole world again.
beautiful. So you started the law when you were in university. What were some of the biggest challenges and breakthroughs in turning it into a fully fledged platform for legal developments?
I think the first challenge was we have no precedent. No one ever started this in Egypt or maybe in the region before. We have no guidelines. We have no story, no clear path to follow. So that was a challenge. So it was a lot of trial and error, a lot of exploring with curiosity, but we have no guidelines to follow. So this was the biggest challenge. And to solve that, we're a company focused on in the mission, which is our mission is empowering justice systems through empowering lawyers, law firms, legal institutions, legal practitioners. So we all our activities are based on how to empower. Our mission is empowering justice system, and also is a community-based company. We're focused on our community, what's their needs, how can we support, how can we empower. So this make you always have to be innovative. You can't have a set of services or activities. You have all the time to build and find the activities you need. You need all the time to research and to study, which was very challenging, studying about the development of how to develop or empower legal institutions, law firms, lawyers, even the marketing for law firms, research development for law firms. This was a very challenge to study this a lot. You know, I was the first, actually maybe one of the first business development and marketing associates in Egypt to start do this for a law firm in Egypt.
You know, studying the rule of law and reading up on what is fair, what is right, like what is justice, and then implementing it. It's no small task. And I'd like to understand how, like, you're obviously, well, it comes across like you're a very confident person and you know right from wrong. But when you're setting something up like this, which does affect so many people whose lives it's going to touch, is it your upbringing that's instilled this real sense of what's the word that I'm looking for, right from wrong, or is it something that you were just born with, or is it a mixture? Where has your personality and character come from to A, be super interested in this, but B, know how to take from what you are reading and implement it with pure confidence and knowing that what you're doing is right?
That's a really good question. And I think the answer, because when I started, I was a law student, still in law school. I was young, so I believe the best answer is being naive. I was very naive and still being naive. And how is that? Then when I think about something and I see opportunity or something, I think it can be done. It's easily to be done. Like everyone would want it. So I start, go ahead, I read it, I see it, I start implementing it with all naiveness that it will work. And this is how I started. I remember when I started in law school, I just like send an email to the top managing partner in Egypt. I sent to everyone, I want to do that. Let's do it. I think it's exciting. And surprisingly, because I was super naive to do that, I saw people get interested and actually become very supportive in doing this. So I just like see something, I want to do it, I go to do it, and I never think about it. I don't think about it. I go do it. I see the passion in it. I see it's useful. So when I go to do it, it works. And of course, you find some challenges when you're doing this. Some people resistance, all of that. But I see that as a normal part of doing anything. So this is why maybe I would say my evenings that I see things are good. Why don't we do it? Maybe this is my way.
I think that that's such a great way to go through life. I mean, I listen to a lot of business podcasts, and one thing that has kind of stuck in my head from a couple of them is the ability to make quick decisions and implement them. And a number of guests on the Tinker Business podcast have also said, you know, you have to make quick decisions because the time that you wait and pander about, it just kills the idea. So you just have to go with it. And it's great to, you know, see you talk about it and do it and what you can achieve from those quick decisions.
Exactly. Yes.
So what kind of impact has the law had on the legal profession in the region, and how do you measure its success?
I think when it started in law school, this was like a movement. The first thing we did, or the first impact we have from our first event, I believe, and our first edition magazine, is in Egypt. It was focused on Egypt, and we connected law students with law professors, with legal practitioners, with lawyers, with judges, all of them in one community, in one event. It was Law Talks. And the students and fresh graduates and entry level came to listen from successful judges and lawyers and law firms, some inspiring talks, small talks, but inspiring and impactful enough that every student can see, and every fresh grad entry level can see the sparks and the inspiration in the other successful different careers. And that was the first movement in Egypt. And after that, when we start do the media coverage for all the legal events and publicizing for legal events and talking about lawyers and talking about law firms, the awareness in the legal industry itself and for the law students, for law market, it changed the market. It made the law more appealing. I believe after the law established, 2 years after the law started its movement, we had private universities in Egypt to start opening law department. We never had that before the law. 2 years after the law, we start like the German university in Egypt started law school, the British university in Egypt started law school, and the law school started to become cool again, interesting again. And this one was the first impact and the more important impact for us. And when we start the annual career day, which is like a job fair or AC for students, and we can see students and fresh graduates having internships in different law firms, and most of this internship, when you're a student and young, it can change your life because this was not the normal in the region. This experience of having internships and doing moot courts and doing all this stuff. So we were advocate for accelerating the development of the legal profession in Egypt. And time by time, when we have the awards and acknowledging the most influential judge and lawyer of the year and all of that, we connected like the in-house lawyers and the judges and law firms and even the business society. We connected the legal community together. So with this communication connection, people become more, the awareness become more, and people become more excited to work in the legal profession. And after that, when we first expanded or went to Dubai to start our regional and global expansion, the first thing we did, we had all our partners and our stakeholders and our first supporter and sponsors from Egypt, and we go to Dubai, connecting the Egyptian market with the Emirati market, and then we go to Paris, and then we go to London, and like every event we start connecting the top. We can say maybe the leading or the elite or the leaders of the legal profession in each country. So we started from Egypt, connecting them with UAE, and then moving forward to connect the legal profession together as a think tank to lead the legal profession into advancement and development. And we can see firms coming together, firms from different jurisdictions, having strategic partnerships. Some have mergers, some have alliance. Law firms can share work when they have work in different cross jurisdictions. Like I have work which would be in Egypt and UAE and Paris in different jurisdictions, and my client need my help. So now we have a network. We are empowering each other together. So I believe it also make because the law firms in Egypt and legal entities and lawyers in Egypt and Middle East and UAE, and especially in Dubai and UAE law firms, they have the same capabilities and the qualities and potential like international law firms, and but they need to get more together. They need the resource together. So I believe in time they make the legal profession in Middle East more global. It's now easier. Like firms from UK and from US can see the firms from UAE and GCC and Egypt, and they can see they are all equal. They can work together. They have same potential.
I mean, I have been in the legal industry for a number of years now. I mean, I've started my training contract 5 months ago. But before that, I worked at Radcliffe Chambers, from 2019, and I was in marketing there, and I can see from, that time, God, 6 years ago now, I cannot believe how quickly the time goes, but I can see how firms in the UK are really excited about working with the firms in the MENA region, and there's so much talk about it these days, and it makes me smile to know that you have had such an impact in the growth and development of that. So yeah, I mean, you're clearly a natural marketer and connector, which I think is just such a lovely skill to have. I mean, what's better than having the ability to talk to people and connect other people? And you do specialize in BD marketing and digital solutions now for which focus on the legal industry. And you are the CEO of BD Partner. So what is the main reason you decided to focus on the business development and marketing for law firms rather than pursuing a career in, practicing as a lawyer?
I started as practicing lawyer when I first graduate, and in law school some internships. But like I like to call myself not focusing only on business development. When I call myself maybe a lawpreneur, and this is what I'm trying to do through my season and studies to introduce the lawpreneur definition, which is like work and advancing of the legal profession as an entrepreneur in the economic business society. Lawpreneur is focusing more on making justice more accessible for people and society. However, when I started working at the law as a lawyer for maybe 2 years after graduation, and like doing the law beside being a lawyer and the law as a part-time, but then I see that someone has to do it. No one taking the risk is in doing something which people at the beginning call it activity, or as I told you, we have no precedent. There is no kind of such organization in the region at the time. And I think someone have to do it, and I always had the interest in, in business, politics, economy, all of that, and building was one of my passion and interest. And actually, my mentor, the managing partner of at this time, Ali Shalani of Shalani Law Firm, he maybe he saw the potential in doing the business development and marketing, and he taught me how to get client and how to do media monitoring, and how to read the news every day, how to read Bloomberg and Economic Plus and BBC, and to see the potential, where to find clients, where to find business, and this became very interesting for me very fast. And actually, I like that. And maybe after a year, I decided to be full time for focusing on in the law and the business development and helping law firms to become bigger. And when the firm gets more clients, they will get bigger, they will hire more lawyers, they will make the economy better. So for me, it was a good goal. Like nothing, I believe that nothing more noble than being a lawyer and practicing law, but I see I can help thousands of lawyers to do their job and to do their noble job, and I see this a very interesting passion for me that I would love to live my life doing that.
I think that, I mean, we've spoken about your dedication to the rule of law and justice, and although I have no doubt that you are an incredible lawyer, like a technical lawyer, if you're clearly very talented in business development and connecting people. You're very personable. So I think that if your mission is to, focus on the rule of law and getting justice, then you should play at your strengths. And so I think it's a wise move that you have followed or gone down the BD and marketing for the legal industry route. And you spoke about your mentor seeing the potential in BD and marketing. How long ago was that? Would you say 10 years or 9, 8? Around about that
Yeah,
time?
I think 8 years. Like I started 2 years before that, and when I met him, it's 2 years after. So yeah, 8 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say that legal marketing is still relatively new concept in many regions. So what do you think that law firms potentially get wrong about branding and business development?
Of course, the first is the awareness and the culture, because it's different what is marketing and what is PR and what is branding and what is sales and business development. What I do to get clients, what I do for sharing my message and getting my client trust and loyalty, what I do from marketing to attract talents and new talents. It's a huge thing, and the knowledge and the awareness is not. And I have to say, a lot of this profession wasn't there before, so there is no people in marketing work in the legal profession, like not in other different places in the world. Like no people who study business or marketing and he's planning to join a big law firm, because 10 years ago there was no voice for law firms. People doesn't know outside the legal profession, doesn't know about the law firms. Even inside the legal profession, a lot of them all know about legal law firms and legal institution. So we don't have anyone who are interested in the marketing. However, the people have to understand. I think law firm have to understand, when we look at for our resources and our stage now, it's all about clarity. And my mission as a law firm and my vision, and show this with clarity, like especially in the legal field, the noise in the marketing is not the best strategy. Is not to do it like trying to do noise and I'm there everywhere. No, like as we said, the being a lawyer is the most noble profession in the world. And as a lawyer, my marketing shouldn't be like just marketing. It should just be sharing my message. like my clients, normal people have to understand my values, because at the end of the day, it's people's business. And more important than rule of law is justice and going to justice. Not every normal person understands the law, understand how the law works. He know his justice and he want to understand and he want to trust the entity. It's like a doctor, like you have someone have to trust. So the most important is people to focus on the message and clarity and understand it take time. It take a lot of time to do something. If you, for instance, if you're working for in the arbitration field disputes and you want to do marketing with clients, you can go for an event, for instance, in a different country. I will go, for instance, for Dubai Arbitration Week or for Paris Arbitration Week and expect to get the ROI. When I go back home, I will find clients and cases. Like the normal case in arbitration to get mature, it take from 2 to 3 years to get to arbitration. So you go 3 years ahead. So you start, people can trust you and know you and get cases. So they have to understand it take time and have to understand how they should only share their message with clarity and communicating. And the rule is always, it's people business. I deal with the law firm as a human. I deal with people as human. I deal with law to try to humanize it as much as I can. This is the best way for marketing for law firms.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. So in 2022, you co-founded Talent Partner. What unique challenges do law firms face when it comes to recruitment, and how does Talent Partner address them?
I think that the first challenge or the best part we come for, as I told you, we're trying to harmonizing the law itself, everything. So when Talent Partner started in the market is to find the right lawyer for each law firm. Like I can't have some set of criteria, qualification, and yes, we go. No, some firms need some people who like work all the time, focusing on their careers, their most passions. Maybe they work 24 hours. They want this culture. This is the strategy of the firm, and you have to find the best fit for this firm. Someone who is really eager to do that. It's also different. Some specific small things are different on the long run. Like where do you live? If you live near to the office or in the area near to the office or on the other side of the country, that would be a very bad challenge in the future. And a lot of people there and a lot of law firms there. So if you focus on trying to find the best culture fit for each law firm based on his strategy, location, needs, language speak. So we try to make it tailored, like every law firm which is the best lawyer, and we want to see it in the long run. And I think most of the people we hired like 5 years ago, they still in the same place, same firm, same position, happy, because we take our time a lot to find the best solution. And always we help firm to save a lot of time. Like we do the interview recorded, we have our intelligence, we do our research report. So when we share it with the partners, the magic partners, like they get all the idea before meeting the person for final interview. So we save time for firms, and the culture fit is the best thing we have.
I have never had to hire anybody before, but I have worked at businesses and seen the hiring process. And I've seen the hiring process with a recruitment agency like yourself, and I've seen it without. And I cannot tell you how smooth the hiring process is with a agency like yourself. So keep on doing what you're doing. You're making a lot of people's lives a lot less stressful. So if you could give just one piece of advice to young legal professionals or entrepreneurs looking to making impact, what would it be?
If they are looking to do impact, real impact, so this is enough. If they want to do that, if they have the passion to do that, so the only thing they need is consistency. being consistent, like strong consistent. And the most cliche thing, but if you are in the law business, it's very important. You have no other option is readers, because I believe that, as the saying, readers are leaders. And I see every lawyer, everyone in the legal profession is by nature is a leader. People graduate from law school, becomes the president of most biggest countries in the world. So law school is for leaders. And when you work in the business of law, you have to be a very, very good reader, not only in the law, in economics and in politics, because it's all related. So reading it have to be a daily habit. Reading the news, economic news, political news. Can't be stopped, beside, of course, reading the law itself. But having the awareness and reading every day, it's the most important thing. And you need nothing but consistency if you have the passion to do it.
That is fabulous advice. Very, very helpful. Very clear. So the name of this podcast is Taking Care of Business. Ziad, what does it mean to you to take care of business?
I would say handling the mission of the business, in our case, empowering justice system. Number two, I would say showing up when no one is there to clap or to praise you. You have to show up every day to handle your business. And I will see the most challenging is protecting your why while pushing your how. And this is a very challenging thing in taking care of business.
Thank you ever so much for, telling us about your story, your insights into life and business, your opinion on, so many matters in the legal industry. You have been such a fabulous guest, and I've really enjoyed speaking with you.
Stephanie, you are very pleasant. I really enjoyed this podcast, and I enjoyed your questions. I enjoyed the conversation, your comments, everything. Thank you so much for having me today.
It's been my absolute pleasure, Ziad. And thank you for everybody for tuning into another episode of Taking Care of Business. And we'll see you back again here next time.
See you.